All right, today we're going to talk about subtracting polynomials. I think you will find subtracting polynomials is very similar to adding polynomials. You just have to add one step in the beginning. So here I have a quadratic trinomial, quadratic because it has an x squared, trinomial because it has 3 terms, and I'm going to now subtract another quadratic trinomial. So the only step that's really different is just the very first step, because you need to distribute that negative and then remove the parentheses. So here I have the equation. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to rewrite the first trinomial, and I'm going to get rid of the parentheses. But before I write the second trinomial, I need to distribute that negative sign. So I'm going to take the negative sign and distribute it to the 2x squared, and I'll get negative 2x squared. I'll then take the negative and distribute it to the x, and I'll get negative x. And I'll distribute the negative x to the negative 10. And if you remember, a negative times a negative is a positive, so that will give me a positive 10. From here on in, it's exactly now like adding a polynomial. I'm going to combine my like terms. So here is my polynomial. If I look at my first term, I have an x squared. So I'm going to look for other terms that have an x squared. Well, here I have a negative 2x squared. So when I'm combining like terms, I'm going to just look at the coefficients. So I'm going to say 3x squared minus the 2x squared gives me a positive 1x squared. And I can just write that as a x squared. The 1 is assumed. Now I'm going to look at the next term. I have an x, so I'm going to look for something else that just has an x. Again, I'm going to take the sign with it. So now I have a positive x minus x, which will give me a 0. And once again, I can put plus 0 here, or I can just leave it off. And then if I look now, the next term is a negative 7. That's just a constant. It's just a number. So I'm going to look for something else that's just a number, and I have a plus 10. So negative 7 plus 10 will give me a 3. So I have x squared plus 3. Just like before, you want to make sure you write it in standard form. This is already in standard form. The highest exponent is x squared down to the constant term. So this here would be your final answer. And this is also a quadratic binomial. So go ahead and answer the questions and see how you do on this.